This is not normal, and it's not right. This is not a my badass life video. This is just a me being me video, me, a member of the LGBTQ plus community video. You know, I would love nothing more than to only post uplifting and inspirational post-cancer content like we were before the last election. I would love that. Absolutely. I would love that. I'd love to stick my head in the sand and pretend like none of this is happening and that we aren't living in an alternate universe. But quite frankly, we are. And today, there is something that I want to share with you because not enough people are sharing it and it's pissing me off. Okay? So, very recently, CNN released a story about Christian nationalists in the United States. And by the way, if you want to understand Christian nationalism, Reverend Benjamin Kremer on Substack just did an amazing discourse on Christian nationalism. It was fantastic. So if you really want to understand it, take a look at that. So anyway, they did this expose on Christian nationalists in America and specifically in Washington, D.C. And they talked also very specifically about their now connections to the government. So, you know, before, Christian nationalism might have been seen as a bit of a fringe. That could never happen. You know, they would never take over. But when you look at the context of Project 2025, which, by the way, is now 46% complete in 6 months' time. And by the way, only 4% of the populace actually agreed with Project 2025, which is why the guy in DC pretended like he didn't know anything about it, even though like 144 people that were either associated with his last term, his campaign, and of course are now, many of them are very highly placed in our current government. So even though he pretended to know nothing about it, 46% of that is complete. It also follows a fundamentalist Christian nationalist perspective. But I digress. CNN did this expose on Christian nationalists. And during those videos, what we discovered is that they would be proponents of removing the 19th Amendment. And if you don't know what that is, that's the women's right to vote. Now, they did it in the context of saying that they thought that each household should have a vote versus every person in the household having a vote. But then as the conversation went on, it was very clear that should the woman disagree with the husband after discussion, that the man would ultimately have the final say. And does that surprise us with Christian nationalists? Absolutely not. Here's the other thing that's not a surprise, but is the thing that I am frustrated as hell is not getting out there in addition to that other piece. It is this. The Christian nationalists believe that being gay should be illegal nationwide, federally. And once again, I want to remind you that these Christian nationalists now have significant ties to our current government, which is already trying to move in that direction. Don't mistake it, people. LGBTQ people are under attack in this country as well, not just trans people, although they are first. They're the center of the target. We are all under attack. And these folks really believe that we should be not our rights. No, we're no longer talking about rights. We're talking about essentially stripping all of our rights and making us, the people, me, Amy, illegal. And you and I both know what happens to people in this country who get labeled illegal. Now, don't we? What the government is doing, though, that is illegal. And in most cases, highly unconstitutional. So the frustrating part to me is that recently, this set of beliefs has been endorsed on social media and elsewhere by a very high-ranking official in our government who shall remain nameless, but former Fox News person, and the initials H. Anyway, he has fully endorsed this perspective, and again, position of great power in our government. And the only thing that social media is sharing is the part about the 19th Amendment and the women's right to vote. Now, as a woman, I fully appreciate that. But as an LGBTQ person, what I don't appreciate is the fact that nobody's talking about the fact that they want to make us fucking illegal. I'm not illegal, people. I'm not illegal. And you know what? I'm probably somebody that most people would consider more mainstream gay. And if this happens, everything that I have worked for my entire life, everything that Amy and I have worked for together, financially and otherwise, our home, all of the things, they become at risk. And so I want to tell you, now more than ever, this is not just propaganda, folks. This isn't just a fringe segment of the population spouting off their anti-gay slurs and wanting to get their way. These people are in our government. It's happening. And right now, you see what's happening in DC. The police have been federalized at the whim of the government. All it takes is one more stroke of a pen with an executive order. This is not normal. We know what happens to people who are labeled illegal in this country. So here's what I'm asking you to do. If you see these posts coming through, and by the way, I want to give Occupy Democrats some credit. They're the only ones that I have seen thus far on social media who have posted both pieces of that story and both pieces of the endorsement from the higher government official, both the 19th Amendment women's right to vote piece and the gay being illegal piece. And here's what I'd like you to do. If you're seeing these posts and they're only talking about the women's right to vote piece of it, I'd like you to speak up on our behalf, because LGBTQ people need you right now. We need allies more than ever. We need people to speak up and say, we are not illegal. There is nothing wrong with who we are and our love for one another. And the real God, he knows that. And so I'd like you to speak up. I'll even give you a script in the comments down here that you can copy and paste to your heart's content. But please don't let people get away without talking about this, because marginalized communities are the ones that get hit the hardest and they get hit first. Remember, first they came for. If you haven't found that poem and read it yet, you should. First they came for. I love you. I appreciate you. We respect you, and we hope that you will help us out here. It's very hard to find hope these days and to not be living in fear all the time. We have to find ways to do it. We have to support each other. We have to prove to these people that empathy and compassion is not wrong. In fact, it's righter than anything, and it scares the shit out of them. So it's 11:15 at night, and I opened up my phone, and I didn't mean to check the news, but right in front of my face, literally hours after I recorded this video that you just watched, I found out that the Supreme Court is officially being petitioned to overturn same-sex marriage in the United States. So, slippery slope, folks. Really fucking slippery slope. When are we going to say enough is enough?